Hello, my name is Richard Duffy. I'm the Vice President of the Arlington Historical Society and the Co-Chairman of the Arlington Historical Commission. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to the George A. Smith Museum, operated by the Arlington Historical Society, where literally Arlington's history is showcased from the prehistoric era to the 21st century in our exhibit Family Ties, celebrating 200 years of Arlington town history. But in a moment, I'm going to show you what's before the 200 years. When I said prehistoric, I meant it, as in 43,000 years ago, when this mastodon tusk was taken from Spy Pond, and it is the item that will greet you on display when you visit the George Smith Museum. Adjacent to the Smith Museum is a true shrine in not only Arlington history, but in the nation's history, the Jason Russell House. I'm standing here in the kitchen of the Jason Russell House, which is open to visitors from the middle of April to the middle of October. It was here on the first day of the American Revolution, April the 19th, 1775, that 12 patriots were killed in the bloodiest battle of the first day of America's fight for independence. Arlington was first settled by the English in 1635 as a section of Cambridge known as Menotomy. In the year 1807, Arlington became an independent town by the name of West Cambridge, and in 1867 changed its name to Arlington in honor of the Civil War dead of the Union Army buried at Arlington National Cemetery. What you can see here in the entrance to the Jason Russell House is a fire bucket with the initials WCFS, standing for West Cambridge Fire Service. And this leather bucket would be used by all members of the fire brigade when summoned to a fire in order to douse the fire with a hand pumper and a line of leather water buckets. I'm upstairs in one of the bedrooms of the Jason Russell House holding a bed key. What would we use a bed key for? Well, as you can see here, the mattress sits atop a rope netting, and over time those ropes will sag. You need the key to put in the bed to tighten the ropes, hence the expression, sleep tight. I'm speaking to you now from the hearing room on the second floor of the Robbins Memorial Town Hall, built in 1913 and designed by the prominent architect R. Clipston Sturgis. This town hall was a gift to Arlington and one of many very significant gifts to the town by various branches of the Robbins family, who made their initial fortune in the poultry business at the Faneuil Hall Marketplace, and of whom Nathan Robbins is really considered the head of the family. The town hall replaced a previous building that's once stood where the Uncle Sam statue is at the corner of Mystic Street and Massachusetts Avenue, and it was Arlington's first purpose-built town hall. Surrounding the town hall are fine pieces of sculpture by Arlington's own Cyrus E. Dallin, for whom there is a dedicated museum at Whittemore Park. Speaking of parks, the adjacent Town Hall Gardens, which were built in memory of Winfield Robbins, are among one of the more beautiful and quiet spots in an otherwise busy modern Arlington center. And at the head of the reflecting pool can be found the icon of Arlington, the Menotomy Indian Hunter, a sculpture by Cyrus Dallin, who also did the sculptures of our absolutely remarkable Town Hall flagstaff. Now I'm speaking to you from the main reading room at the Robbins Library, another gift to the town of Arlington by the Robbins family, made in 1892. In order to place the library here, it was actually necessary for the Robbins family to have their own house, the Whittemore Robbins house, which we'll see in a moment, moved from this site further back from the avenue to its present location. The library contains many wonderful architectural features. It's a wonderful place to discover not only for the history contained on its walls, but for the history contained on its shelves. We have a wonderful collection here of circulating books on the history of Arlington, and definitely worth a visit to get to know your town better. I'm speaking to you now from one of the bedrooms in the Whittemore Robbins house, a federal-style mansion built around 1799 by Amos Whittemore, who made his fortune with a card manufacturing operation right here in Arlington. It was subsequently purchased by Nathan Robbins, who we spoke of earlier, the poultry king of Greater Boston and Massachusetts. His granddaughters, the Robbins sisters, are iconic figures in the history of Arlington. They made this their home and eventually donated it to the town in 1931. Quite a contrast to the Jason Russell House, a simple colonial revolutionary farmhouse. And here we move along in the history of Arlington's architecture and prosperity to the great Whittemore Robbins House mansion. The final stop on this whirlwind tour of Arlington history is appropriately at the Old Schwam Mill. It's a National Register historic property that was rescued from demolition 40 years ago, and today it serves as a living museum. It's a wonderful example of Victorian industrial architecture on a small scale, and it was involved then as today in the production of round and circular picture frames. It is located on the Mill Brook behind me here, and there has been a mill operating on this site, not necessarily this building, but there's been milling operations of various types on this mill site on the Mill Brook since the 1600s. So from the early colonial days into the 21st century, this particular site brings us truly through the spectrum of Arlington's history.